Hello, this is Jose Torres. Welcome back to these tutorials. Today we are going to be creating an application that is capable to uh, read the contacts from the contact agenda on the mobile. So let's start. We are going to start creating a little application. So Phonegap, create contacts app. Once the application is ready, we need to confirm what plugins do we have on there because we are needing a plugin. So let's go and navigate to that plugins. So let me move cd contacts app and let's list the plugins that already we have with the instruction Phonegap plugin list. So as you can see, we have not plugins on there right now, and the the query is indicating us that we need to use Cordova plugin add to add it. So let's do that. Let's run the Cordova plugin add, and the plugin that we need for contacts is Cordova dash plugin dash contacts, and that's it. Let's confirm it by rerunning the plugin list just to confirm that we have it, so you can see that the plugin is ready. Now that our application has been created, let's open it in some editor that you prefer. We are going to start by modifying the index.html. This is the default Phonegap template that was created. So just let's do some very basic modifications to this in order to have this running. We are not taking care too much today about the user interface. We are just going to do very small modifications to have this working. I'm going to remove this device is ready text, and I'm going to add here a header, well, or a h1 tag, and just let's add here contacts as a title. Also, I'm going to create an empty unordered list just to have them listed. So let's add an unordered list here, and I'm going to provide the ID of contacts list. And basically, this is what we need from HTML side. Now, let's move to the JavaScript, and we are going to create some stuff on here. Let's start by creating a function that is going to list the contacts. So I'm going to call it function list contacts. This function is going to have a variable. I'm going to call it options for now. And this is going to be equal to a new contact find options. This contact find options is provided by Phonegap, and we can use it because we added the contacts plugin before. I'm going to explain this a little deeper later. For now, just let's go and create the code to see this running. For options, we can use the filter, and this filter is going to be empty for this example. So just let's give an empty string here. Also for options, we need to use the multiple. Basically, this is indicating that we are going to retrieve multiple records. So that is true because we are going to list all the contacts in the agenda. Also, we are going to create a new bar fields, and this is uh, what data I'm going to be retrieving from the contact. What fields of data? Remember, the contacts. A contact could have email, could have different phone numbers, could have organization, and a lot more of data. So we want to retrieve all of them. So for that, we are going to give an asterisk on here. Finally, we are calling the navigator.contacts find. This function is receiving four parameters. The first parameter is the fields that we want to retrieve. And remember, we already indicated that we are retrieving all of them. Also, it receives two functions. One of them is going to be on success, on error, and finally, the options that we created before. We haven't created yet the on success and on error, and we are creating them. So let's do this. So we need a function on success that receive a variable contacts. And what we are creating here, we created an order list, so we want that order list accessible from the code to be capable to fill it with the different contacts. So let's load that in this variable. And remember, the ID we used for this is contacts-list. So now let's iterate in all the contacts that we receive as a parameter here. So let's do that with a for bar equals 0. For every one of those, we are creating a list item from HTML. So let's do this in the new li. Is going to be equal to document dot create element, and the element that we are creating, it is an li. Now let's create the element or the content for this element. New li dot inner html is going to be equal, and we are going to list just the contact name. So let's retrieve contacts in the position I dot name dot formatted. Basically, the name is an object that has different properties. One of them is the formatted, and formatted allow us to retrieve the full name of the person. That is first name and last name at one single query. And finally, we are going to add this element to the list. And basically that is what we need. We just need to create the on error, but this on error is not going to be too complex, just on error and a message in case that we hit some kind of problem. So alert and some error. Don't forget to call the main function list contacts from the received event on here that is indicating us that everything is ready to be used. So let's call this list contacts right here. So we are ready to run this in the simulator. So let's do that. I am moving to the terminal or the command line if you are in Windows. I am already in my contacts app folder, so I just need to run the Phonegap serve instruction. And I'm running an 192.168.0.113 and the port is the 3000. So I'm going to move to my phone and run the Phonegap application to access this app and see it running. Okay, so now we are on our phone. We already have installed the Phonegap application. If you don't have it, remember to download it from the Apple Store or from the Google Market. Let's open it. Okay. Uh, we enter here the port and also the IP address that we got from the console when we started running the application. So let's hit connect. And here we are. Here we have the full list of contacts from the agenda. So this is the way that we list all the contacts from the agenda. So we are ready with this example. Now that we had fun, let's check a little deeper the code and the different options that the Phonegap framework give us to access contacts. Now we are going to analyze a little more this code. Previously we mentioned some stuff, but we are going to try to go a little deeper on here. So just to recap, we are using the navigator.contacts.find that is provided by the plugin that we added before to be capable to access contact in the device. It receives four parameters: the fields, on success, on error, and options. The fields is this one that we have here, and it gives us the option to say what fields do we want to retrieve. That means we want to retrieve only first name or only last name. We want to retrieve only emails, or we want to retrieve only phones. In this case, we are retrieving all the fields available. That is why we are using here an asterisk. The second parameter is a callback function. So basically, it is what is going to be executed once the contacts are fine without any kind of error. The third parameter is the on error, and basically is what happens if the find uh, retrieves an error. So basically it failed for some reason finding the contacts. So what is going to happen? That is going to fire the on error function. And finally, the options. Basically, the options is a contact find options object, and it allows us to configure things like, okay, what filter are we using to find the contacts? In this case, we are not filtering, we are retrieving everything. In the future, we are going to add a filter on here, but for this example today, we are retrieving everything. The multiple, basically, when we have the options that multiple equal true, is we want to retrieve multiple contacts. If it is false, it means we are retrieving only one of the contacts. The unsuccess is getting a contacts parameter. That contacts is basically an array with the results of the find. So we are iterating over it, and you can see that we are retrieving the formatted. Basically, the formatted is a special field inside name that give us the full name of the contact. And finally, the error where we have only the message some error. Let's go and try to go deeper on the API. So this is a little map that I created. We are going to be adding the different APIs on here and documenting them in this way. So for the contacts, we have the methods and we have the objects. Let's go to see the methods. We have the method create. It is going to be in the future, and the pick contact that always we are going to check it in the future. Today we are working here on define. So what can we do with define? We have the contact field that we already see. We have the contact success, which is a callback function. We already discussed that this is what happens with the contacts are fine and we don't have any kind of error, the contact error, and the find option. As we saw, we have inside the contact find option the filter, the multiple, the desired fields, and this one that is the has phone number, but it is only available for Android. What about the objects? Well, we are working here with the contact object. So as you can see, we have a lot of fields here available, and every field could have information inside it, like the name. Let me do this a little smaller and try to have both things visible. Well, here we are contacting contact.name.formatted. So if we see the contact.name, and inside name we have different things. One of them is the formatted, which is a string, and it give us the first name and the last name, or the family name and giving name. And you can also access the family name. So if you want only the family name, you are going to have here contact.name.family name. So you are going to be displayed only the family name in the list. You can play with all of these. You have the given name, middle name, honorific prefix, and honorific suffix. Also, inside the contact, you have nickname, you have phone numbers. Basically, phone numbers is an array, which is specified here with the square braces, and it is composed by type, value, and pref. The pref basically is indicating us if this is the preferred phone number or the primary phone number for this contact. Also, we have the type. For example, is a mobile, is home, is office, and the value, which is the phone number itself. The same thing happens with basically all of them. The email has exactly the same things. The address is a little bigger. We have the type, formatted street address, locality, region, etc. So all of them can be accessed by saying contacts.iams, for example, dot the what you want, if the value or the type. So you can play with all of these doing modification to the example that we already made. You can find the official documentation from Phonegap for this plugin in this URL. Also, the URLs are going to be on the description. And next time, we are going to be expanding a little more this example by creating a contacts from our application. Uh, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like if you like it and subscribe if you want to learn more about different stuffs.